Hi, guys. I think we're live right now. Ellie Knaus is here. Hi, Ellie.
Hello.
I mean, I just put this girl through the ringer. I sent her the link late to do this. Anyone who knows me knows that tardiness is like my big Achilles heel. So thank you for your patience.
No way. I had to run inside to get this little adapter. I feel like I'm 95 years old. Also, I can't see your face, but I'm just imagining you glowing, big smile.
She's saying, I can see the orchid behind you. So I'm going to log on. I'm pretty sure this is looking okay on Facebook too. But we do want to say
what I want
everyone
listeners
put there. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good on this.
Maybe if I pull it up on Facebook, then I'll be able to see you. Okay, let's continue.
Let's chat. I'm so excited about this, Ellie. I feel like I know you, and I know that sounds super stalkerish and weird, but you host this amazing podcast called Atomic Moms, and I could listen to you like read an encyclopedia. You have the most soothing voice that I've ever heard, and you have just really worked me through some really difficult times. So I want to start off, and we want to talk all about the podcast, of course, but I know you're a mom too, of course, a mom of two young girls, and I have to ask you right off the bat, because I like to know this about moms, what has been the biggest surprise to you about motherhood so far?
Ooh, I love this question. What's been the biggest surprise? Honestly, that I'd like it. I was a reluctant mother, which feels really bizarre since I have a parenting podcast. And I obviously can't get enough of it because I think I just released my 178th episode. But I didn't have any, I was really afraid that I would lose my identity. I was afraid that I would lose my ambition. I was scared that my husband would just keep charging ahead in his career and that I would have nothing to talk to people about. And yes, there are a lot of issues as mothers, like in terms of our ambition and like what we can accomplish because there's only 24 hours in a day. But I was surprised by how much there was to connect with other people. Because like I was afraid of not having anything to talk about, right? But when you go to dinner with other people and if you ask them about their kids, like their hearts just open up. It just kind of like cuts through all the crap and you get to the core of what matters. And I think that was the biggest surprise for me.
Yeah, you are like with endless material once you become a parent, and that's like crazy stories and heartwarming stories. And I think you like really hit on an interesting point. People who have come from careers, and I had a career that I recently kind of stepped away from too, are worried that your whole identity is going to be blown away by the fact that you have other people to care for, but you really have managed to transition your old career, which I don't want to say old, but you're an actress. You were an actress for years and have had major success with that into something else that I'm sure it feels really organic, right? You're talking about
mama pivot.
Wait, I have to say you were in Road Chip. Like, oh, yeah. We love that movie so much in this house. My son, I have a 5-year-old, and he's like, let's watch Chip Road. So you are like a star in our house. I should say that. But you found a way to keep connecting with people is what I guess I'm trying to say with this podcast. And I love that you touch on so many different issues in your podcast. So what over the years, and you've done so many obviously, but what really sticks out to you as an issue that you're really proud to have addressed on the podcast?
Oh man. Well, I think when I was starting out, I really wanted to present a show that was smart content for women. Anyone who listens to the show, like I definitely come across as a space cadet. Like it's just who I am, but I am really relentless when it comes to my research. I'm a total nerd. So like I pull quotes from books and I love being like the Cliff's Notes for parenting books, and I like being the guinea pig for the experts. And I think what I'm most proud of is that I haven't focused just on one thing. I'm actually really proud of the fact that like being a parent is such a multifaceted experience. And so we've got, you know, the women's issues and we've got the kids experts. I'm really proud of the episodes we've done on postpartum anxiety and postpartum depression and on pregnancy loss. You know, we're giving voice to subjects that really, really matter and have not been given the time of day by society, and they should. I'm also really proud of, you know, I have a whole sort of category, which just happened on accident because I'm a total feeler, and it just kind of, the show is curated by like what I need in my home right now, and what's going on in the world. But I'm really proud of sort of the umbrella of protecting our kids. Because, you know, what do you say to your children when they come home from school and they've heard about another school shooting? Like, what can we do to support them?
Yeah,
and I'm lucky enough that I have these experts who have been on the ground, who've gone to these schools, who have helped these children through major trauma, and I can basically call them up and be like, hey, come on the podcast and just share everything with us. Like, give us tools so that we can help our kids and also like handle the anxiety ourselves.
Sure. And you that's interesting that you brought that topic up in particular. My background is in news, and the same kind of information that I sort of thirsted for as a mom is the same kind of stuff that I started to create too. I had a guy on talking about that exact topic, school shootings, how to talk to your young kids about this stuff. And I think there's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of aspirational mom content, and we need that, you know, the pretty pictures. And I know you talked about the Instagram mom stuff in your latest episode, so I want to touch on that too. But there's a wealth of that out there. There's so much inspiration and there's so many pretty things to look at. But it's really useful too to have a touch point out there, and in this case with your podcast, for a place to go to get the information that's maybe not so pleasant but is so necessary. And this reminds me of another episode you did. You talked with I think it was like a sort of a town hall thing with a woman, an expert on how to protect your kids from sexual assault. And
that was
it was so good. It was filled with really great information. So I mean, you really, really do cover all the bases here.
Well, that's what's so fun about the podcast is that it's long form, right? So you can do this like deep dive. And when you're on a walk with your baby, or if you're listening in the middle of the night, or if you're on a drive, like we can keep you company. And what I appreciate most, probably because like I'm not great at the little sound bites, right? And so it's a good platform for me, but also for my guests because they can share so much more. And I also the cool thing about a podcast is that it feels so intimate. And again, I've been doing this since like before Serial came out. So it's been really fun that like, because it used to always be like no one knew what a podcast was. So it's really fun that like more and more moms are coming on board. But what I think is so special about it is that I can reach out to these therapists and these people who don't have like this huge social media following, but who have like dedicated their lives to these subjects, and they can talk about it for an extended period of time versus just the like, okay, you know, we're on the news and we're going to do this quick little grab thing, you know, like that feels really good to me.
Yeah. I mean, I do encourage people to look up that episode in particular. Of course, listen to all of them. It's called Atomic Moms. You can find it on wherever you get your podcasts. But it's full of good information, and it's just so good, like you said, to know, especially coming from the world of sound bites myself, that you can put so much more out there when you have the ability to do so. Which sort of leads me into my next point, which is we as moms I feel like we're more connected than ever with social media and with the ability to reach out like this and talk with people. And I feel proud of us in a way, this generation, that we are sort of laying it bare, right? We're letting the ugly stuff out. We're telling all the dirty, crazy stories. So I'm kind of proud of us. I feel like that's a new thing, right? Because I don't remember my mom, you say commiserate in your podcast intro, which I think is the perfect word. And I think that's such a great thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel so lucky to be a parent right now. there's so many more resources available. And yes, that can lead to overwhelm. But God, I think about my mom, like she had just moved to Houston from Chicago. She didn't know anybody. She had recently gotten married and she did not have a village. Like she had nobody to help her with me. And she was isolated and I don't think she had a great first year with me, which totally sucks. And I think it sucks for both of us, frankly. And I think it's part of why I do the podcast, because I don't want moms to feel alone. And I think it is important to commiserate. I think that's like such a great way to bond with other people. And I love, especially like on your blog, I mean, the idea, like your post made me so happy about like, here's the baby stuff that doesn't work and that I shouldn't have wasted my money on. That post makes me so, so happy because I think, moms have a lot of power and they have a lot of spending power. And so companies are trying to figure out how to get us to spend our money with them. But that's not, these platforms need to be about having each other's backs. And that's what I really, really appreciated about your recent post about that.
And you have two girls, like I mentioned in the beginning, this Sabrina and Eliza, right? And they're how old now again?
Eliza's 10 months and Sabrina's 4.5.
Okay, so you're like in the in it phase too. Did you have a hard time with early motherhood, or were you one of the lucky ones that it was surprisingly easy for? Because I was a total shit show, I have to say.
Were you?
But there are people who really, I have come to this conclusion, people who are extremely gifted at early motherhood and at handling the stress of it. I wasn't. And maybe there are more of us out there like that, but I always ask that question because there are women I do feel like who have a more magical experience with it. And maybe, we can't shame them for that, but maybe you're one of them. How was your first year with Sabrina, for example?
Okay. Well, Sabrina was rough because my husband was working on a television show, like great. It was, no complaints there, but he was working an insane amount of hours. And so he would come home at like 2 a.m. and do the dream feed, and he'd be out the door again at 7 a.m. Because he was show running this show called Undateable. And it was, he was gone a lot. So luckily we have a ton of videos of Sabrina's first several months because I would send him texts like all day long. I was so alone, but also super anxious and didn't want to leave the house because I was also super tired. I have had I've allowed myself to have a lot more fun this go around with Eliza. And I think that the show has helped with that. I think already having my mom friend crew in place has really helped me with that. I think having low expectations this go around has really helped me with that.
Oh, amen. Amen, sister. I say with each child, they get lower. I let my third child, she's on the floor at restaurants. I'm like, have fun. You can eat that ham sandwich too while you're down there because
it's immunity.
It's here.
Totally.
That's great.
And I think with Eliza, I know that this first year is so short. With Sabrina, I think when she arrived, I thought she was going to be this tiny baby for a really, really long time. And I was surprised by how quickly they go into the toddler phase. So I know that it's fleeting this time around. There's also something very cathartic and sad about like clearing out all the tubs of clothes. Like Eliza's just, her life is hand-me-downs from her sister. But after that, like we're passing them on to friends. Watch, I'll accidentally get pregnant now because I'm doing that. But so there's something cathartic about that. And so I'm really trying to live each day knowing that this is a finite period. And, speaking to experts, it's made me also appreciate that we can't do it all ourselves and we need to have time away. I didn't know that with Sabrina in those early months. I would listen to podcasts. That was like an escape for me. Here's the Thing with Alec Baldwin was my favorite show. I listened to like the same episodes multiple times. Like that was my escape. but I was always with her. And I think it's really, really important to take time away. And so I've just been more conscious about the whole experience. And I look 400 years older than I did with Sabrina, which is a bummer.
We just got our licenses renewed. It's funny you say that. In Florida, they let you like keep your picture from whenever, and you just like mail in your new info or enter it or whatever, and they mail you your new card. So my husband and I just got our new IDs, and they were taken right before our first kid, and we were like, who the hell are these people? And when I get arrested for speeding or something, they're going to be like, no, lady, this is just not you, because it's that bad. It's that different. But it's what happens. It's crazy.
I don't know how you were ever doing. I mean, I shouldn't say this because I'm going to be like, I'm already like, oh God, Ellie, shut it down. I want to say like, because I know so many mothers, they go to work every day. But I was saying to my girlfriend, Kate Baldwin, I called her up her first week back at CNN after her second child. And because we were doing an episode on the fifth trimester, and there's a great author, Lauren Smith Brody, who talks about that on the show. And so I called Kate and I was like, how do you end up on camera? Like when you have these two small children, like it is, I mean, just doing a Facebook Live for me, everybody, this is a big step. And my ego is just sort of melting.
You look wonderful. I don't know. I mean, I used to call it my spackle when I worked in TV. They're like, oh, you look like you slept. I'm like, you should scrape off about 3 of these layers and you would see what's going on. Yeah, but it's one of those jobs that just you have to, you're forced to interact. It's a good thing in a lot of ways. But I'm so glad you brought that episode up, because actually that was going to be the next question that I asked, the fifth trimester stuff. Guys, you should check this out. This was a fairly recent episode that Ellie just did. But the fifth trimester, I think you titled it that too. And we hear so much about the fourth trimester, which is also a very valid thing. It's, when the baby is super tiny, and I called my baby my barnacle because she was stuck to me, and you have to respect that thing. But the fifth trimester is when we have to go be people in a greater world. So you talk all about like finding yourself again, and how so many workplaces these days are unfortunately not all that friendly when it comes to new moms. And it was super informative and kind of depressing to hear that reality, that the author talking about this.
Yeah. And luckily she's really crusading awareness and change in that department. But I think we still have a really, really long way to go. And it's just a lot. I think mothers have more on their plates than ever before. And that's why I'm also so grateful for blogs and like the work that you're doing, and for the podcast, and for moms becoming more aware of like how important our community is, and commiserating, because the expectations on us are so high. We're expected to continue with our career, and if we don't, then there's all this guilt. And when we're working, we're supposed to, we feel like we should be with our kids. And when we're with our kids, we feel like we're not moving the ball forward with work. And it can be totally overwhelming. So I just really appreciate the honesty that so many of you all are bringing to this subject, because it would really suck if everyone was just saying, oh no, it's super easy. The problem is trying to do it all really, really, really well. And because we're aware of the studies and we know how important like the connection between us and our child is. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that we need to be there all day. God knows if I am with, especially my 4.5-year-old all day long, by like hour 7, I'm kind of a monster. Like, again, I know myself. I will take multiple showers in a day just to escape. So that's how I do my self-regulation. Because we're always talking about that with kids, but it's so important to be able to find your people to vent to other moms. And, this, like how I want to vent right now, that I keep getting these spam calls where it looks like it's my phone number and it's not, because they're tricky people.
I know, it's horrible. It's horrible. Well, this should make you feel better. On my last Facebook Live interview I did, I was like, I trying to be all professional and stuff. And my son comes in, like with no pants on. I was like, can I just get like, so at least it was a phone call. I just ran in here for this one and I was like, listen to me right now. Do not come in. I was total mean mom, but I didn't want to come in
moment.
Yeah. Can I get a minute? Can mom get a little space here? We love it. I swear.
It's so crazy. Like I had my phone on because, you know, in case I'm needed by my children, like you're just always on call, right? And that's why I'm so envious of your experience in journalism, because the fact that you can like show up and say the words you're supposed to say in these like pressure cooker situations, like it is awe-inspiring to me. It was a news reporter once, and I was terrible at it because I was so overwhelmed by the extras who were playing like the crowd outside the courtroom. I was like, I would be fired in 1 second. And I feel like it probably did like it was probably great preparation for having 3 kids.
Oh my gosh, like multitasking. I mean, you know, we have the little earpieces in and there's always someone screaming at you. So I feel like that kind of is the same. All these things. I'm like, wow, everything I actually did a post on that. Everything I needed to know about motherhood, I learned in TV news. And it was kind of sad, but true.
I think it needs to be a book.
All my friends read it and they were like, oh, this is preparing me for motherhood. So what are you going to do next? How far do you plan out your episodes? What are we going to find in the next couple of weeks? I'd love to hear about what's kind of down the pipe for the show.
Yeah. So, well, I just released an episode today on overwhelm.
Yes, I was listening to that in prep for this. I love this. You talk about Instagram moms, the perfect moms. They always make us a little bit jealous.
It was a really, really, really fun episode with Leslie Bruce, and she was the co-creator of the Lauren Conrad book, Celebrate, and she's a New York Times bestselling author and an award-winning journalist, and she, like, I love having journalists on the show, and we break it down, like, what are the things that overwhelm us the most, and what can we do about it? So that one is, like, a really fun girlfriend-style episode. And then I've got one coming up about attachment theory that I'm super excited about. I think that's going to be the very beginning of June with, it's so cool. Okay, so the idea of attachment theory is the importance of your relationship that first year and a half with your kid, and sort of the studies they've done and the brain's research stuff. And I'm kind of obsessed with it because they say that you can sort of track your attachment style with your parent, your primary caregiver, and you can see how that sort of affects you down the line, like what your relationship is with your partner and with your friends and how you relate to people at work. So that was really fun for me. And then I'm working on an episode. I'm in the middle of producing an episode on premature babies and the NICU. And I think that one's going to be super, super special. And I'm also going to be featuring this wonderful charity coming up called Mary's List, which is about organizing and collecting home goods for, families coming over from Syria.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like one step at a time. I mean, I've got 50 plates in the air and I'm still trying to feed my children, even though I suck at cooking. And that's what's happening over here. Just stay tuned for next Tuesday. That's what I should say.
We'll be there. I will be there for everyone. And I have to just, before I let you go, just give you a sincere thank you, because I think sometimes it feels like we're like screaming out into the abyss, but your words truly are impactful, and your show is too. And I was in a really dark place when I first found you, and I found you. You were the first episode actually that got me or the first show that got me like downloading podcasts and stuff. I was like, what's a podcast? Where's my walker? I didn't know what they were, but because of your show, I was like, and it really did. It helped me. So thank you. Truly. I love the work you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much. And thanks for inviting me on here.
And tell us quickly where to find you. It's called Atomic Moms, a podcast, but give us all your plugs and all your websites and things so we can keep track.
Okay. I'm trying to get better about Insta stories. So definitely go on Instagram at Atomic Moms. Go to our Facebook page. And after you listen to a couple episodes, you can join our little private Facebook community, which is really fun because a lot of the experts are also in that community. But the moms, you guys are the best. Everyone that's on that Facebook group has the best advice, and I kind of have to check myself because I'm like, everyone else, I should just like produce the podcast for everybody else to talk. You guys have the information. And then
There's
what I'm definitely subscribe on iTunes or whatever your podcast app is. And if you like the show, please leave a written review. And just start with the most recent episodes. That definitely helps us out too.
It's good. The latest one is great. I was just listening to it. So, Ellie Knaus, thank you so much. And guys, go check out Atomic Moms. And I will be listening to you from afar. So keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. And I love what you said about the abyss, because I'm just like in this room by myself with these sound panels, and it's so bizarre.
I know, it feels weird. In fact, there are people in my house right now and they hear me talking and they're like, I'm like, Mommy's going to go to work. And my kids are like you talk to yourself in a room? What? This is so weird.
Yeah. Which is great when you're hormonal and sleep deprived. It feels.
I know. Amen, sister. All right, Ellie, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.